Good day. Thank you so much for buying this tutorial. I hope you will enjoy it. This is a great design and there is not much to say. Let's do this. To start this project, we're going to need some 20 gauge square wire. This one is half hard. Also some half round wire. This one is 24 gauge, but you can use 22 as well. Actually, I would use 22. This one is a little thin for me, but it's the only one I have right now. And some 28 gauge round wire, weaving wire. And with this we're going to make the whole ring. So to start, we're going to cut 4 pieces of the 20 gauge square wire. These ones are not very long. They just need to be long enough to make the length of the ring around the finger. So I'm not going to give you a precise measure. You just need to calculate around your finger. We can straighten the wires. So it's better if you use half hard wire. This way it will hold the shape better for the ring. You know, it is not nice when you have a ring and then sometimes you can crush it a little and it changes the shape of the ring. So usually I make these rings soldered, but we're going to make this one without any soldering. So now we need to calculate our finger. So for that, here I have this tool where I can find the size of my finger. And we're going to take 2 sizes more. So it has to be wide. And we're going to transfer this measure to a mandrel. So what I do is that I can mark my mandrel with the tool like this here, you can see. So this is our measure. Now we want to shape our square wires to that dimension. This way. So as you can see, usually the wire always is bigger, like the circle you create with the wire, the loop gets bigger because the wire is a little stiff. So what you can do actually is make it smaller, or you know, in a tighter place in the mandrel, and then push it where you need it. And right now it's where we need it and it's tight on the mandrel. So that's what we're looking for. So from there we can cut the excess wire. What we want to do here is to cut the wire flat. So with the flat side of your cutters, the flat side in the inside of of the loop you're creating, and the other side too. So this way your wire would sit flat one on the other. If it's not sitting flat, you can always adjust a little, but don't cut too much. Just try to cut the edge best you can, or you can even file it a little. Okay, so this we want to make it 4 times with the rest of the wires. Okay, now our 4 rings are ready, but they are not quite flat or ready to use. So for that, we're going to flatten them. So here I have this nylon base that I can use with this nylon hammer or mallet. I don't know the name in English. So we just want to make it as flat as possible, so that when we put them all together, they will sit flat against each other. Okay, now we have our 4 rings. They are flat, and the union here is tight. Okay, you can move it, you can separate it, but it's pretty tight. So this is what we're looking for. Also make sure your 4 base wire for the rings are, well, the same size. You can stack them like this without any gaps, or the less amount of gaps you can, as flat as possible against each other. So once this is ready, if you're soldering, you can solder this, and then your rings are totally closed. But for this one, we're not soldering, so we leave them like this. Once this is okay, for the next step, we're going to create the braid. So for that, we're going to take our 28 gauge wire to make the braid. So here I have 4 wires that I'm going to bend in half, like so. It's going to be 4 double strands to create the braid. This is approximately 30 centimeters. You can take a little more to make it more comfortable to work with. So what we want to do now is to secure it somehow so that we can work and make the braid comfortably. So in my case, I'm going to use this base here with this tool that I can secure like this here, and this way it can hold my wires. So this is me, this is what I have. You have to find what you have in your house to do this. So here we want to separate the wires in groups of 2. So each wire is going to be a group. I'm going to show you better in a moment. Here, so each wire, this is what I mean, this is one wire, this is another one, and here are the other 2 that we're going to separate the same way. Sorry if this is not very clear. Okay, so we'll make the example with these ropes here so that it's more visual, easily to understand. Okay, so let's say each one of these has 2 wires. Okay, in the design with the wire, these are double, but for this example I'm going to make it only with 4 strands, single strands, and not double. Okay, so what we want to do is to do this here. The one on the left goes to the right, and here on top of this one. The next one here on the other border will go under this one and on top of this one. Okay, so if the one that was before was going on top here, so the next one will go on top of that one. See, so every time all the wires, all the ropes do this, up, down, up, down. Here the same, here it's going this way, so put it like this. Or you can just repeat the pattern, like the one on the right goes on top, and then the one here on the left goes under and on top, and then it repeats exactly the same. The one on the right on top, the one on the left under and on top. Okay, so this is basically what you have to do, but you will have 2 wires for each rope that I'm using right now, but it's the same, always the same. So here we have our 4 double wires. So what we want to do is to take the first one on the right, this one, and place it in the center, and then the second one from the left will go on top of the wire we just placed. We want to keep the wires always flat, sitting flat against each other. And the beginning is always a little tricky until all the wires are placed where they are supposed to go. Then we take our first wires on the right, and we place them on top of the second ones on the right, like this. Now the first one on the left, I'll try to keep this as clean as possible. The ones on the left under here and on top of this one. And then you pull on the wires, making everything as tight as possible. So now we repeat the same process. So the idea is that the wires, if they were going under before, then they go on top. So what I try to say here is that here the wires are going on top, like this one is going on top of this one, so the next one will go on top of this one. So this is how you can do for not getting lost into this. Next one, this one in the edge, goes under and then on top of the wires in the middle, like this. And then you pull on it. And this is the same process. And every time it will repeat exactly the same. So this one goes on top here, and this one goes under and on top. This one on top, and this one under and on top. So this is what you want to get. So now you can do the rest. Okay, so we want to have enough so that it can make a full rotation around the ring, and a little more just in case. So here we have it. It's a little longer than what we need, but it's better to have it longer than too short. So if the braid is not super consistent everywhere, you can use some pliers. Here I have these nylon tip pliers. These ones are parallel pliers, but they don't need to be parallel. I just happen to have these ones. I do recommend to get some. They're great. Super happy with these pliers. And we can also apply some pressure on the sides like this, so that the width of the braid is consistent. So just try to make it as good as possible, applying pressure on the sides and on top so that everything looks nice and consistent. You can also do this with your fingers, you know, bending on one side and the other, and this will help to make it better. See? Much better. So now we are ready for our next step, which is putting everything together. Okay, so we have our braid here, we have our ring bases, and now we need to grab some of the half round wire. Here I have about 1 meter, should be enough. So what we want to do here is to place these rings so that the opening they have are not next to each other. So what we can do is we put the first ring with the opening here on this side. The next one we can put it with the opening on this side. And the other one we put it with the opening to the left, and the last one with the opening to the right. Okay, so this way the openings are not next to each other. Okay, good. Here we go. So now comes the tricky part. We want to, doesn't matter really where we start, we just need to place the half round wire under the bases and start coiling this half round wire around that to secure them all together. And also we need to make it so that the half round wire always stays flat, so with the flat side facing the wires and the half round side facing outside. So if you can pull hard enough, you can do it with your fingers pulling the half round wire, but you can also apply some pressure with this kind of pliers, for example, just, you know, doing this so that everything stays flat. So this we're going to do a few loops like this, a few wraps, and once it doesn't move, we can put it on the table this way, and now we're going to create some marks that will help us have a reference. So for example, for me, I like when it has it's divided in 6 parts. So for that I'm going to create these marks. So here I'm going to do it just with my eyes. It's not precise. You can do it super precise if you want. But here I created these marks. Okay, so you will see in a minute what these are for. Our next step here will be to place our braid on top of this here, like this. Okay, and we're going to continue wrapping. So I want to move this a little closer to that first point here, this first mark, and then place this like so, so that the beginning of the braid meets the point, the mark that is before we just chose. And now we secure the braid to the ring. So this will move around. So yeah, make sure to pull properly on the wires so that everything is properly secured. So here we're going to secure this braid by wrapping the half round wire around the braid and the ring, let's say 4 times. Like this. And then we will lift the braid up and continue wrapping the half round wire around the ring, but not around the braid. So just make sure everything is tight all the time. And if you happen to have these things happening in your wire, just fix that before it becomes a problem. So it's good from time to time to just make everything nice and flat again. Okay, we continue. So basically what we are going to do here is repeat this, and every time we arrive where we have a mark on the ring, we secure the braid to the ring with the half-round wire, just as we did here. So here we are arriving to our first place where the wire is open. So what we want to do is just to make sure our half-round wire covers that place and secures everything properly. Okay, sorry if it's not very clear on the video. As you can tell, it's a little bit of a mess, but I think you get the idea. Trying to find the flat side of the half-round wire. These pliers can help with this. Okay, good. So now that opening in the wire is completely hidden inside the half-round wires, and it will not be bothering. So this is perfect. It worked good for us. So now we are arriving to our next mark here. So, well, we just lay the braid on the ring and we secure with the half-round wire. So here we made 4 rotation. It's up to you. You can make 3, you can make 5, however you want. I will go with 4 on this one, and there we go. So 1, make sure the braid is centered on the ring. Second rotation. Third rotation. And 4 rotations. Pull on the wire a little. Everything has to be nice and tight. So it should look something like this. Pretty cool, huh? So now we lift our braid and we repeat the same process. If you want, you can count how many coils you made without the braid. So in between here and here, and you do the same here on the next one. You can do that if you want, or you can just take reference with the dots if they are still there. I think I'm going to make mines again. Yeah, much better. So I'm going to make the rest of the ring, and we will meet when we get to the end. All the rest here is pretty much it is what we already made here. It's the same process. And when you find the end of the wire, just cover it as we did it before. See you in a bit. Okay, so something happened here. My wire broke right here. So this is something that could happen to you. So how do we fix this? Okay, we lift the wire that is broken, and we will cut it just halfway in between, in the middle of the two sides, just like this. And then this will cover, so it's not going to go anywhere. We take the new wire, the rest of the wire, and we place it next to it, like this, and we start coiling just like before. Okay, this one went out of place, no problem. So we can also just start coiling again, doesn't matter too much where, and then we will push it so that it sits next to the one that was broken. So just let me do this. Okay, so we push our new coil here next to the other one, and the wire here, we got it halfway, just as the other one. Yes. And now we can apply some pressure with our pliers. And there we have it, super clean. So this is how you do it when your wire breaks. Now we continue, and I'll get back to you when we get to the end. The rest is the same. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to the end right now. So I have my final reference point here. Here I have the beginning of my braid, and here I have the end of my braid. So what I want to do will be to cut them so that they meet where the point is located. Okay, for that, instead of when we're going to secure them, instead of making 4 wraps like this with the half round wire, we're going to make 8 so that it's better secured. So what we can do right now is to cut them. So I'm going to cut here just above the mark. Okay, and the other one too. So we want them to meet just one in front of the other, so you can trim them until you're satisfied. Like, this is pretty good. Yeah, you want it like this. So maybe one more under here. And then basically what we're going to do is just go on top of, wrap everything so that it covers both. One more under. Okay, so always make sure your half round wire is facing the good side. And there we go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, if it's not 8 wraps and it's more, no problem. The first one is for practice, and usually this part here goes, like inside of the hand. But I think we got it pretty good. Yeah, with 8 wraps is good. So there we go. Looks like this. You can always push your wires a little, apply some pressure with pliers if you want. And now we will finish by continuing the rotations under the braid like this. Okay, because here we have a space. So yeah, we continue doing this until we get to the end and we feel this non coiled part of the ring, just like so. Okay, so getting close to the end. Oh, these wires like to twist so easily. Yeah, I cannot tell enough. Be careful with your half round wire so that it stays in the good position with the flat side facing the base wires all the time. Okay, and now we're getting there to the end. So we have our two wire ends, the beginning of the wire and the end of the wire. So what we want to do here is that we will push our wire from the beginning. We'll push it out just a little. We can use a tool like this one to help us out, and we will cut. So we want to try to calculate so that when we push this little wire that we just cut it here inside, I don't know if you can see properly, my hands are so dirty. You can push it again inside and it will be locked in the middle, like the replacement wire we made just before. So you try to push it as good as you can. Be careful with the pliers. Do not apply too much pressure because these wires are very thin and you can break them easily. Okay, there we go. So this one has room for one more rotation. So we push it inside. One more rotation. And then the last one, the same. We cut halfway. And then where is it? This piece of wire here, we place it inside. Okay, so it's difficult to make this and stay exactly where I need to do, where I need to be in front of the camera. But you get the idea. You have to push it inside under the braid. And there we go. The ring is done. So this is where the braid beginning and end meets. And this is our finished ring. Okay, how cool is this? To make one ring without any wire ends anywhere to bother us, and also it's super comfortable because the half round wires are very comfortable on the skin. It's really not long to make. You know, in 2 hours you can make one, or less if you're fast. And yeah, you don't see the onions, you don't see anything, it's just seamless. This is great. I love this design. Yeah, so comfortable. Okay, so this is the end of the video, of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. This design is very comfortable to wear, and also it has a style that lots of people will like. So it's great for a gift, it's great for sale, they sell very easily. This one is made with copper, but you can make it with brass, you can make it with silver. I have a silver one actually. And yeah, you don't need to solder anything, and there is no wire ends anywhere to bother you. So this is something great. Also, you can make some more, like you can change the design. Like for example, this one is mine. I made it with silver, and it's exactly the same idea. It's just that this one has one more wire on each side next to the braid. So it's exactly the same, you just have to put one more wire on each side next to the braid, but really nothing else changes, and it adds something very cool. So yeah, see what you want to do. Maybe you can add another wire with another kind of metal. You can change the braid. You can put 2 braids, very thin braids next to each other. Yeah, be creative. Thank you so much for purchasing this video. I hope you will have some fun making these rings, and well, have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.